When it comes to handling objections, there are certain do's and certain don'ts. What are they? So let's go to the book and you can see a list of do's and don'ts of handling objections. First thing is you need to maintain a positive attitude and be enthusiastic. You don't want to be pessimistic, you don't want to be a little down, and if you are feeling down, maybe you should avoid meeting with the customer that particular day. And it's okay to share your feelings and emotions, but you don't want to be overly responding to or exposing what you are thinking about your job or sales and things like that, because nobody wants to be the naysayer or want to make you feel bad when you are not really feeling good about things. Do remember that objections are a natural part of the sales process and don't take it too personal. Do maintain eye contact, because that's all about having a real close, confident approach with your customer. Do listen closely to an objection, as you see here. If you don't listen, then that is the biggest problem, okay? And I have to emphasize that very much. The more you listen to what the customer has got to say, you will be able to frame your questions and answers based on what they are saying. So you have to listen. Do acknowledge the objection and then give your point of view. When you hear an objection, you want to say, oh, that's a good question. Oh, I anticipated that. Oh, thanks for asking that question. Like that, you have to kind of acknowledge and kind of approve what they are saying, and then you give your opinion. If you simply say, oh, you know what, that's not right, that's not what I said, and if you have that shrugging attitude, which we saw as part of your body language, negative body language, then it will look bad on you and you may not be able to make inroads with that particular customer. Similarly, do prepare to prove your position with testimonials, references, and documentation. Testimonials from other customers. References means the people who can vouch for you. And then documentation, that you are having data and studies and things like that. Certain things that you should not do. Don't knock on the competition. It's a small world. If you say something bad about your competitor, it may come back to bite you down the road. So, and surely the word will get around. And in fact, salespeople do move from one company to another company. So when you say something bad about company XYZ and one of your colleagues leave the job in your company and goes and joins XYZ, they may tell what you told about the company there. So you don't want to do that. And also, when you talk too much about the competition, it takes the focus off you and your company. And you want you to be the primary topic of conversation, your company and your product and your service, not the opponent, right? Don't say anything negative about your company. You may not like everything that you are seeing and doing within your company, but still you want to put on a united front with other salespeople so that your company is perceived in a positive attitude. Don't say anything negative about your product or service. Sometimes if there is a negative thing, if there is some kind of a shortcoming, or if the product is not performing as you expected, you may want to acknowledge, but at the same time, if you can refocus it on the positive side of the things that your product can offer, maybe that is a nice way to approach things as well. Don't tell the customer that they are wrong, because it can result in an argumentative situation. Don't tell the customer you don't understand. That is like, minimizing them or belittling them. So we don't want that to happen. Don't argue with the customer. I already told you, they can go on Facebook or social media, or they can just tell to their friends or other company colleagues that you are not such a great person to work with. And that is how the word spreads around. Don't lie to your customer. Long-term relationships are built on trust and honesty. That means you should really focus more on trust, honesty, rather than trying to make a quick sale and move on from there. It is not a transactional relationship. It's not like I want to sell today and then move on for tomorrow. It's not like that. You have to stay there for a much longer period of time. You have to cultivate a relationship. Actually, retaining a customer by selling to them in the long term is cheaper than getting a new customer every single time that you are trying to sell. Okay? And if you tell a lie, obviously you cannot expect the customer to stick around with you. Don't be defensive. That's not a positive approach to an objection. Defensive can be okay in sometimes. For instance, if they say that the price is too high, maybe the price is too high for a reason, because the quality is different, because you use different components as part of your product. Maybe that is why it is durable, and the durability also increases the price. Sometimes you can be defensive, sometimes you have to defend, but then you don't want to say that you don't have any problem at all with your product, because people can easily see through that type of a thing. Don't lose your cool with the customer. If you don't like what the customer has got to say, that's okay. You can always be polite and say no and move on. That's okay, but you don't want to shout or create a scene or anything like that. Don't let an objection go by without an answer. If you don't address an objection, it will be in the back of the mind. So you can diminish it, you can postpone it, but you still have to come to that particular objection. So it is probably a good approach for you to take a pen and paper and write down all the things that you are trying to that you need to address in the form of objections. Now there are different types of objections. Product objection. They may feel like they want to use an eco-friendly product, but your company products are not eco-friendly, or that has a lot of harmful chemicals. For instance, when it comes to this honeybee products, honeybee maintenance, neonicotinoids, there is a bad rap on that neonicotinoid product because they kill honeybees. And if your product contains that, maybe some people, some orchard owners may not want to buy it because they don't like that product. So it's a product objection. Source objection. They like the product, but they don't like it from your company or from that particular salespeople. Or if they have to buy the product from you, then they have to deal with certain things, and they don't like those things that they have to deal with that comes along with your product. Price objection. That is, they cannot afford that price. In that case, maybe payment plan might work. Money objection. And that is related to price but slightly different. So let us go down there and see how it is slightly different from the price. Is it given there here? Oops, did I miss it? Money objection. An objection that is related to the price objection is the money objection, sometimes called the budget objection. How much have they budgeted for this particular activity? Maybe they will be blowing through the budget in case if they are going to say yes to that. So the price is okay, but at the same time they don't have the budget for that. That is what they call the money objection. Okay, and I am already satisfied objection. I am already working with a company, and whatever they are providing to us is good enough. In that case, you really have to show them what can be accomplished with a better product such as yours. So these are the things that you need to think about. And there it comes. The customer can also say, I have to think about it. Actually, they are trying to stall in that case. So if they are going to stall, you have to ask yourself, how can I move them to the next stage? Maybe taking a break right now and coming back to that later, or maybe showing some other product, or maybe showing some other features, or trying to find a common ground. So you have to challenge, or you have to try various different techniques when it comes to say stalling. Okay, and one of the things that they are saying here is you need to build your relationship. If they trust you, maybe they won't stall and they will try to move on with whatever product that you are trying to sell. So these are all the important things that you have to think about. There are 6 types of objections: product, source, price, money, need, and thinking about it. And also you should be thinking of how to use customer testimonies, past experiences, so that you can make the sale happen. So these are all the various things you can do when it comes to dealing with objections. Okay, and I have given some video clips for you to watch. So please try to watch 1 or 2 of these video clips, and you can fill out these objections based on what we just discussed about. So I will come and see you again for this particular page, where I have a few other tips on how to negotiate. When it comes to objections, you need to negotiate and move on. So negotiation takes a huge precedence when it comes to this particular step number 5, that is handling objections. So in the next video clip, we will talk about objections.